Okay, think for a second about the traits that really define you. The things you're actually proud of. Now, what if those very traits aren't what they seem? Today, we're diving into a really fascinating question. Are your best qualities a genuine value that you choose, or are they more like a vise, a kind of protective shell you've built around yourself without even knowing it?
So let's kick things off with a big one. Something so many of us identify with being a hard worker. I mean, it sounds great, right? It's like a badge of honor. But what if that constant hustle isn't just about getting ahead? What if maybe it's a really elaborate way to hide from a feeling you'd rather not deal with? That's the core idea we're going to unpack.
You know these phrases. We all have them. They're our go-to descriptions for who we are. Oh, I just work hard. I'm just a really independent person. I'm a kind person. And they feel good. They feel solid. But we're going to peek underneath the hood here. The real question is this. Are these things a conscious choice you're making, or are they an automatic reaction?
So, how in the world does this confusion even start? Well, it usually comes down to what you could call a broken internal compass. See, when we don't fully trust ourselves on a deep level, it becomes almost impossible to tell the difference between what we truly value and what's just a defense mechanism. I love this definition of self-trust. It's not about being loud or arrogant or always being right. It's a quiet foundation. It's that inner sense of stability that lets you rely on your own gut feelings, your own decisions, without needing to check with 10 other people first. Just take a look at this list. Does any of it ring a bell? That constant second guessing or doubting if your feelings are even valid. Maybe you really struggle to set a boundary and then actually, stick to it. Or maybe you find yourself always asking for reassurance from other people. Hey, it's important to know these are not character flaws. They're just symptoms, signs that your internal compass might be a little off course. All right, so if the compass is broken, how did it even get that way? This isn't something that just happens overnight. It's more of an origin story that unfolds over a long time, usually when our own internal signals were ignored, either by others or, let's be honest, by ourselves, just to get by. So how does this trust break down? Well, it happens when our boundaries are crossed over and over again. It happens when we're told we're being too sensitive for just having a human emotion. Over time, if you had to ignore your own needs just to get through the day, that inner voice gets quieter and quieter because it's been shut down too many times. And this quote, wow, it gets right to the absolute heart of it. The brain, in an attempt to keep you safe, learns a really dangerous lesson. My own signals can't be trusted. And once that idea gets locked in, you naturally start looking everywhere but inside for the right answers. Okay, so this brings us to the main event. Now that we get the problem, let's get into the solution. We are going to put true values and their protective lookalikes right next to each other so we can finally see the difference clearly. And here it is. This is the whole ball game right here. Values are chosen. They are a conscious, deliberate choice. Coping mechanisms, though, they are automatic. They are reflexes your brain developed to keep you safe from something that hurt in the past. Let's start with overworking versus purpose. From the outside, they can look exactly the same. Long hours, tons of effort. But it's the feeling underneath that tells the story. Overworking is a protective behavior. It feels frantic, anxious, and it's driven by a fear of failure. But true purpose, even when it's hard work, feels focused. It's energizing because it's driven by a sense of meaning. What about independence? We all think it's a good thing, right? But there are two very different flavors. The protective kind is actually rooted in a fear of being let down. It's a wall you build to avoid getting hurt. But true independence, the value, is about self-reliance, sure, but it also includes the strength and confidence to ask for help. That's what actually lets you connect with people. And finally, being a kind person. People-pleasing, that's the protective version. It comes from a deep need for approval and a fear of conflict. And it's exhausting because it means your own needs always come last. But genuine kindness, the real value, comes from a place of empathy. It's given freely, sure, but it doesn't ask you to set yourself on fire just to keep someone else warm. So, if you're listening and you recognize some of these protective patterns in yourself, please know this is not a life sentence. The good news is you can absolutely recalibrate that compass. So let's talk about how we can start rebuilding that self-trust. Now, here's the secret, and it's actually a huge relief. Rebuilding your internal compass isn't about some massive, dramatic life overhaul. Not at all.
It happens in the tiny, almost invisible promises you keep to yourself every single day.
So, what do these small promises actually look like? Well, it's as simple as this. One, you actually rest when your body tells you you're tired, instead of just pushing through. Two, you say no to something when your gut tells you it feels wrong, even if it's a tiny thing. And three, you finish one small thing you told yourself you were going to do. Each time you do this, you're sending a little message back to your brain that says, hey, you can count on me. And this is just so important to remember. The goal here is not perfection. Self-trust is not built by always making the right choice. It's built by slowly developing the belief that no matter what happens, you can handle the outcome. It's about building resilience, not a perfect track record. Okay, as we start to wrap this up, I want to leave you with one final, very practical tool. Think of it as the ultimate litmus test. A single question you can start asking yourself to tell the difference between a value and a protective behavior in your own life. Here it is. The next time you're about to say yes when you really mean no, or work late again, or push someone away, just hit pause, take a breath, and ask yourself this one simple question. If all the fear was gone, would I still make this choice? The answer to that question, well, that is your compass, recalibrated and pointing you toward your true north.